Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Learning for Development. Today we are going to discuss about a very difficult grammar point. At least I considered it as one of the most difficult grammar points during my student life. Why did I say it was very difficult for me? Well, what happened? I was exposed to a bunch of rules and structures before I understood anything about conditional. And it was more about memorizing the definition of it, then classification, and coming up with some rules and structures, not understanding the conditionals that much. At least the very focus on how to apply it in real life situations, in different real life contexts meaningfully, that part was missing. So this video is going to help you how we can use conditionals in some real life situations, in some more meaningful situations. This video is mainly for the students who are learning English as a second language or foreign language. This video can be also for the other people who still think they need some support to understand conditional in a better way, especially learning how to apply different conditionals in real life situations. What do we mean by conditional? Well, here something will be happening depending on something else. For example, if I study well, I will make a good result. Or I can say, if I study well, I can make a good result. Here, making a good result is depending on how I study. See, if I don't study at all, I'm not going to make a good result. Or if I study well, there is a high possibility that I will make a good result. But there is no guarantee though. And if there is any guarantee, then it will be another form of conditional. Like this example, there are thousands of examples in our practical life, in our real life situations where we use any of the patterns of conditionals. And now we are going to see all of them one by one. As we know, there are four conditionals. These are zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. We will see the use of them one by one. What is zero conditional? Can you still remember the example I provided? If I study well, I will make a good result. So that's the possibility of making a good result. It doesn't give you the guarantee that you must make a good result. But in zero conditional, it's a must. It's going to happen. The possibility of happening is 100%. Let me give you a practical example. If the sun rises, darkness disappears. Or I can say, if the sun rises, there is no darkness. I'm not going to use future form of it like there will be no darkness. No, because it is going to happen. It's a must. And we can give another example like, if you heat iron, it melts. So it's definitely going to happen. Then what are the uses of zero conditional? Mostly in two ways. One is which are considered as universal truth, like the sun rises, and another one is scientifically proven facts. And if we think about the structure, it's if plus present. So we are using the present form of verb in the first clause, and in the second clause it is also present form of verb. So no use of modal like can, could, or something like that. If plus present. Can you think of a practical example of zero conditional? Take a minute and think about it. Now let's remember first conditional. I gave you an example. Can you still remember that? If I study well, I will make a good result. Or if I study well, I can make a good result. So use of can or any other model as appropriate is also possible in the first conditional. And the structure is if plus present plus future, or sometimes if plus present with model. We can see the rules of first conditional is very clear through examples and more meaningful. Use of if is a must for any conditional, and then for the first conditional you are using the present form of verb, and then in the second clause we are using can or any other model or will. or shall. So if plus present plus future or if plus present plus present. Let's think about some practical examples where we can use first conditional. It's mostly cause and consequence. The example I gave you, if I study well, I'll make a good result. So making a good result is the consequence of studying well, which is a cause. It can be also referring to promise, like if you come to my house, I'll help you. If you don't come to my house, then I am not going to help you. Or it can be also prediction, like what is going to happen in future. Can you think of some other practical examples where we can use the first conditional? Use this sentence pattern and make it like, if I da da da, I will da da da. So remove this da 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 and use some useful information as appropriate. Take a minute and think about it. Now, we are going to focus on the second conditional. Mostly we talked about present and future. Now we are going to talk about past, what happened earlier, and it comes up in different forms. Let me give you the same example. Instead of saying if I study well, I will make a good result, I am going to say if I studied well, I would make a good result. So instead of study, it is now studied because it happened in the past. And then instead of will or can, we are using would. So this is the structure of second conditional. Now, as I didn't study, I didn't make a good result. So is there any possibility that I am going to make it again? It could happen, but somehow it didn't happen. So in this context, we use second conditional. And the same thing is coming from your parents, for example. And they are saying, if you studied well, you would make a good result. So it's a sort of advice coming from your parents. There is another way of using second conditional, like for unreal facts. If I were a bird, I would fly to your house. If I were the Education Minister of Bangladesh, I would help out the poor children more and more. Now, can we think of some other examples where we use second conditional? It's about past, not future. Think about it. Take a minute and do some exercise. Now we are going to talk about the third conditional. I think the most difficult one. Not at all. I don't think it's difficult. It's about knowing the difference between the second and the third conditional. Let me give you the same example. What did I say? If I study well, I will make a good result. If I studied well, I would make a good result. See the difference between the second conditional and the third conditional. In the second conditional, we said, if I studied well, I would make a good result. So you are still looking at a possibility, like if that happened, that would happen. Now, it's not going to happen anymore, and you are a bit frustrated out of it, and you are saying, if I had studied well, I would have made a good result. Look at the structure. If I had studied well, I would have made a good result. I'm going to assess your understanding of conditional, and I'm going to give you some sentences, some sentence patterns, and I'll keep some words blank, and you will fill those out with some appropriate words as you have understood from different patterns of conditional sentences. Take a pause and fill out those words, and you will get the result from my side. Exciting, yes? Now, can I ask you a very simple question? Is conditional very difficult to understand? Or is conditional very difficult to apply in our practical life? I think it's not. But if you focus more on memorizing rules and structures like plus 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 without understanding the context of using any of the conditionals, then it's extremely difficult. The way it happened to me when I was a student of grade 6-7. If you think it will help you, please don't forget to like my video, and please subscribe my channel to be connected with any sort of lesson I provide for you. Thank you very much.